I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Sagru. I'm looking forward to introducing you today to a series of sessions that are going to provide you with new skills and develop further depth where you already have knowledge in agency solutions. We're talking about the way agencies work, how to work better with them, to understand their thought process, their strategies, how they actually produce work. So we're going to run through an introduction today, just looking at a glimpse of some of the content that's to come and to give you an outline of the types of topic that we will be discussing. So let's start off by thinking about the fragmentation of agencies that's happened over the years. If anyone is a fan of the TV series Mad Men, they'll be familiar with the idea that there used to be just the agency, the full service agency, who provided all of the services of marketing, research, strategy, production, etc. for their clients. That's split into many, many different specialities. The specialisms include the creative agencies, media agencies, and research and analysis specialists, the agencies there. I won't go through each of the details of these now, but again, once we start to go into the sessions in further content that will be supplied later, you'll start to understand how this information is unpacked and how you can use it to your advantage. The thing that agencies have realised as they've developed over time and tried to become very distinctive from other agencies is that there's more than one way to skin a cat. It's possible for you to come up with a way that the research that you're delivering for clients seems unique or different. They come up with their own solution. The same is true for their approach to creative, and certainly it's true for the media solution as well. There isn't just one way of working, which makes it particularly interesting in thinking about how the service and tools that we provide our clients can be used to best advantage for them, because there's going to be the generic use, which they will use no matter which company a client chooses to work with, but also there's the opportunity for them to think about their own way of working and how adopting what we provide them gives them a unique advantage in some way. Each of these agencies basically want to pitch their own philosophy so that they can say advertising works this way and we understand it better and more differently than anyone else that you could contact to work with potentially. So let's give you just a couple of examples of how agencies bring their work to life. So sit back and enjoy these. Make sure you've got your headphones on. Let's have a listen.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going to just give you some actions to do. I just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
My hair. Oh, God.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
Aw. My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
So do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. I mean, yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
Is like a girl a good thing?
Actually, don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. It sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like you're trying to humiliate someone.
So when they're in that vulnerable time between 10 and 12, how do you think it affects them when somebody uses like a girl as an insult?
I think it definitely drops their self-confidence and really puts them down, because during that time they're already trying to figure themselves out, and when somebody says you hit like a girl, it's like, well, what does that mean? Because they think they're a strong person it's kind of like telling them that they're weak and they're not as good as them.
And what advice do you have to young girls who are told they run like a girl, kick like a girl, hit like a girl, swing like a girl?
Keep doing it because it's working. If somebody else says that running like a girl or kicking like a girl or shooting like a girl is something that you shouldn't be doing, that's their problem. Because if you're still scoring and you're still getting to the ball on time and you're still being first, you're doing it right. Doesn't matter what they say. I mean, yes, I kick like a girl and I swim like a girl and I walk like a girl and I wake up in the morning like a girl because I am a girl. And that is not something that I should be ashamed of. So I'm gonna do it anyway. That's what they should do.
If I asked you to run like a girl now, would you do it differently?
I would run like myself.
Would you like a chance to redo it?
Yeah.
Why can't run like a girl also mean win the race?
Advertising can affect us all in emotional ways that really do strike a chord and can be very powerful. Not all ads hit home in the same way or work to the same rules, and that's partly the difference of the philosophy and style of the agency and what they're trying to deliver, but also the brand they're working with, their clients, sometimes have very different needs and positionings, and so they use other approaches. Here's an example using humour.
Malibu asks, what if we Caribbeans took life as seriously as the rest of the world?
You're 43 seconds late.
According to my watch, I am not late.
You're late. And I am late because you're late. Now you're a whole minute late.
Not by my watch.
Hurry up, my fish is sick.
I'm running late for my meeting. You, give me road rage. If we took life as seriously as this, then we would never have invented Malibu. Made with their finest Caribbean rum, Malibu. It's seriously easy going. Oh man, it's total gridlock.
So what I wanted to do was share the idea at this stage that there are different approaches. They do work as effectively, potentially, but for different brands in different situations. But clients actually seek out agencies that they believe have got the secret, the special sauce, the way of working that resonates with them. For some, for example, if you go to work with Grey Advertising and their group, it's because they have a reason to believe. They'll provide a reason to believe that your brand and product is great. If you go to Bartle Bogle Hegarty, they'll seek fame. They'll try and reach people in a way that drives consumer choice and preference. If you work with someone such as Ogilvy, they'll talk about cause marketing, perhaps, as the example we showed earlier on. Or if you go to McCann's, they may talk about the truth being well told, how they're going to reveal that in an insightful way to show a point of difference. So if that's how agencies are now working, it's useful to think about the thinking, the strategy and the ideas and data that have actually built a foundation for them, because that can also help us have a firm foundation in the area of agency solutions in terms of understanding where the thinking has come from and how it's now applied across everything from insight and strategy through to creative communications, media planning, and in particular the use of digital tools and analytics, which obviously is relevant to ourselves. So what I've done is just outlined here a number of books which I guess you could call best of breed or best in class examples. I'm not going to take you through here what they all say and why we should sort of take note of the learnings in detail, but again, one of the sessions will develop so that you can see extra detail and come up to speed with some of the thinking that's driving the way agencies work and think and behave, and how they advise their clients comes from these sort of sources. Just to outline it then, in the case of Paul Feldwick's book, he's talking about the history of advertising as it developed and different approaches and the agencies that created those. Adam Morgan talks about challenger brands, how brands that appear to be smaller and weaker can actually be powerful and different and shape whole sectors. An example in modern day would be Tesla, for example, as something that's stirring up the whole of the automotive market by being very different, even though they're smaller. If you look at Jean-Marie Drew, he is the head of TBWA, and their mantra is disruption. What they want to do is break from convention. That's the central tenet that drives everything they do. So you can imagine if you're having a conversation with TBWA, they're interested in knowing how can the use of our data and our services and tools disrupt the competitive playing field for their clients. If you're reading through Mark Earle's book on herd, he will talk about the way that people are super apes in the sense of being super social. We are herd animals, and therefore we do follow the trends seen by our friends, colleagues, partners, that sort of thing. And this is really influential then in how we pick up products and brand information, and how we share and participate in things together and celebrate things together, because we are so social. Nick Bircher wrote the key foundational book that brought to life the ideas of paid, owned and earned media. Paid, owned and earned are very influential in terms of understanding the different types of media channel and how they're going to be effective for the audiences and how you apply that. I'll stop there and won't go through all of the others because it goes into detail we'll cover off in the individual session. But it leads on to then thinking about, from some of the learnings of those other books, for example, the work from Byron Sharp on how brands grow, or Les Binet and Peter Field in their work for the IPA, you start to find key works of thinking that actually provide a very close lens of where we are able to focus our value to the agency teams that we work with and support. We are right at the epicenter of the connection between the marketing sciences, media channel and campaign performance, behavioral science, and analytics. And that is a sexy place to be. It's where the agencies themselves love to say that they have an advantage and that they can actually provide guidance to their clients through data that's robust and timely and agile, that they want to be able to do that. And so you're starting to speak their language by working within the framework of this sort of thinking. So that's what some of these sessions will go on to expand on, so that you're equipped to start talking and using these names and examples where it's relevant in conversations. It's not so that you sound like an encyclopedia. It's so that you can apply relevance to the conversation, because they want you to feel that you're part of the agency partner support network rather than someone who's just trying to sell them. So let's look at some of the agency ways of working as well. When you work inside an agency, what you'll find is that they have taken the idea of having a philosophy or a difference to life, and they apply that then to the functional way that they operate as a business. We'll run through a couple of quick examples here. This one here is from the Media Agency Initiative. When you work as a client with Initiative, what they'll first of all ask to do is identify the task. So inside this wheel of the infinity loop that they've got here for their planning process, they'll start with identifying the task and then defining the opportunity. They'll then have their strategy team come up with a media strategy that addresses the task and the opportunity. They'll then develop the comms design. They'll either influence the creative development or work with creative agencies to actually look at the elements of creativity that are going to be executed and delivered through the reach of media. They'll also have the opportunity to work in partnership with media owners, publishers, who are able to amplify the particular message or task and opportunity that were highlighted as important to this particular brief, which leads then finally to the campaign launch of execution. And then, of course, it goes back round to understanding, did it work? Through the analytics, you can see that they're highlighting as growth analytics there. Is the performance good? And how do we improve it to influence the improved performance for the next task? And around they go again. So that's their agency way of working at Initiative. Very quickly, here's one from With their mantra is better science, better art and better outcomes. The way they deliver that is by starting with better science, where they seek to understand the audience, understand the client's brief, understand the competitive sector, and they use a variety of different tools to do that. And then go into discovery. They can use some tools that are described as self-owned or proprietary, and some tools that they're buying off the shelf that they would call secondary data or data services and analytics from other companies like ourselves. Once they've set up the understanding and discovery side, so they understand the size of the market opportunity, who the audience are, they then try and get under the skin of the audience to imagine what motivates them, how these people behave, and how they may influence them through media. That's then starting to get into the better art. We've moved on from better science to better art, and then once they've worked through tools such as Wave and other tools we'll go on to talk about in a moment, they then architect the plan to say, how will we reach those people and influence them in a cost-effective way that optimizes the ability of channels to really influence sales or the other outcomes that were set as KPIs for a campaign. That then leads to a discussion under better outcomes of investment and then implementation. So this is their way of working as an agency. Again, it's useful to understand this sort of way of working with the agency partners that you work with, because you can start to think of where do our services plug in to the way of thinking and help them address the problems they face. The way this particular media agency do it is they split down those 5 areas like this. They provide for their staff a number of proprietary tools that they pay for to buy in, such as ComScore, and some free tools. And there's many more of these, but these are some examples. So for the understanding phase, this is the suite of tools that key staff at that company will actually use to define the audience size, the segments or personas, how they can actually match the brand with opportunities which are perhaps different from the category rather than just matching, or how they can maximize advantage through difference and reach. They go on to then work inside Discovery to really understand people's behaviours and look at analytics across the sector or just from the client, depending on what data they have available. That you can see leads into these personas and archetypes being talked about and brought to life with these sorts of tools. They may use social media, which is this area here, or their own lifestyle surveys to understand what people do and which channels are influential on them. This is where you'll see ComScore mentioned again, to understand those behaviours that people are exhibiting, that they can then leverage through media. We then get to imagine. So imagine where could we apply the message and the strategy that the strategy team have come up with through the channels. And so tools like TGI from Kantar, Target Group Index, are one of the ways that they will match the lifestyle and behaviours to an individual across all channels, from TV, press, radio, cinema, through to display advertising, SEO and other channels that they'll link with tools like this. And then we go to the architect. So here now they're actually looking to not just say which channels we're going to use, but they look to optimize the mix of that. One of the things that's obvious is some channels can reach more people than others, but they're also potentially more expensive. And so the optimization process allows them to think about how much is it going to cost to use these channels and how to balance the need to reach as many people as possible, but as quickly as possible inside the campaign period, without too much duplication or wastage. And then finally, they actually go through the investment process. So now they're actually planning and buying the media for the particular campaign. And they will, of course, then after the campaign, conduct analysis as well, looking at the performance to see how well that's gone for them and feed that back to the client. So hopefully that quick tour of how an agency thinks and works, and there is a lot of variety inside it, gives you a flavour of the sort of discussions we'll go through as we take you through other sessions. This implementation one is different perhaps than some other agencies you'll see, as there's a heavy emphasis on existing proprietary tools that this particular company have. Not all of them have their own tools, many of them just buy in external tools. So where next? So the plan is that I will create a series of different sessions. These sessions, some of them will go into more detail than others on very specific topics inside the agency solution space. Many of you I know have worked in agencies, and so please, you'll understand that I'm not trying to teach you to suck eggs. You do know your jobs, but I'm hoping to just take you to the next level and fill in some gaps for people who maybe haven't been exposed to some of the points I'm starting to raise for discussion and to help improve skill sets overall that hopefully can be applied to your job. That the key thing is application, so that you don't just understand how these agencies think and work and what their needs are, but you can think about how we help address those through the tools and service that we're providing them. So I look forward to going through some of the other sessions with you again, and please let me know if you have any questions.